Okay, next what we are going to do is styling text with CSS, also known as text formatting. Okay, so now we are going to see what is the styling text with CSS, or also known as text formatting, how it is used and why should we make use of these things. And we'll also see many properties, font families, the font size, and everything about the styling part for the text in CSS. Okay, so before going on with this, first we'll understand why to do this. If you have noticed in many of the websites, the text are in different font families of different sizes and different colors. Why? If you usually see a text page or a web page of just a single font family and same color without any editing in the text, any styling to the text, it will be really very simple and very plain. It will not grab the attention of the visitor or the user, right? So we should always grab our attention, grab the attention of the user towards our web page. Okay, so for that purpose, we'll make use of the styling text. I think in the previous video in some of the place, I have told you an example of giving an offer or giving discount from 75 to 50 and the 75 stroke to 50, right? In such places we always make those text highlighted, or some other formatting is given that such an offer is going on, such a deal is going on over here, something like that, right? So to highlight a text or to give some basically to grab the attention of the user towards some important point, will make use of the styling text with CSS. This will really play a good role if you make a perfect idea of this and do it or make use of it in the web page, because styling a text will always grab the attention of the user, and it will even tell which of the informations or data are really more informative or needed for the users for time being, like as I told, offers, then deals, any discounts or any coupons available, something like that. Those should be always highlighted. And when it's about the intro about the web page or something, then the keywords or the important points will be highlighted. In such places, how is this highlighted? By giving an underline, by giving some other color or some other font family. Usually, if for example, each and every font present in your web page is of, let's take it as Times New Roman. Okay, so in middle, if something is of Arabic or some other like that, then it will always be looking out different or apart from the other content. So it's a normal mentality of users. They always read that or get attracted, or their concentration always goes to that information or data or the content present in the web page, because it's of some other style. So basically they will come to know that this is this is really very very important or something special and all. Okay, so making use of this will tell the user that this is important, this is going on, this is the deals and each and everything. So we'll make use of different style formattings and understand this in depth. Okay, now let's see the font collection. Okay, so in this font collection, it is further divided in 3 types. Okay, the one is the serif fonts, then the sans serif fonts, and the third one is the mono space fonts. Okay, serifs, sans serifs. Okay, and the last one is mono space. Okay, these are the 3 types or 3 categories of the font collection. So inside this there are many font families. I will tell you the name. Okay, and in the upcoming sections we'll even see some examples about it. Okay, in serif there is Arial. Oh, sorry, that's on sans serif. Okay, in serif there is Georgia, and there is also another one known as Palatino, Linotype. Okay, and there's another one, Book Antiqua. Okay, and even Times New Roman comes under serif. Okay, so basically these are the 3 categories. So we know different types of fonts, right? Even like this Times New Roman, Arial and all, but we don't know it belongs to which category. So for here now we got the most familiar one, that is Times New Roman is under serifs. Okay, Now let's go for the next one, that is sans serifs. Okay, in this sans serif, the first one is the Arial. Okay, and the basic Arial which we use. Okay, then we have the Helvetica. It's VE Helvetica. Okay, and we even have Arial black inside this. Okay, and then we have a Comic Sans Serifs, and then we have Impact Charcoal, then Lucida Sans Unicode. Okay, then even we have Lucida Grande. Okay, okay, then we even have Tahoma, Geneva, then the next familiar one, that is Verdana, and then we these. Okay, just we'll finish with these things. Okay, so the first basic thing which we know is of Arial. Okay, so Arial, which we mostly use in giving a font to our content, right? So even that belongs to sans serif and even the Verdana. Okay, now let's go for the third type, that is Monospace. Now Monospace just has two things, that is Courier Nude. Okay, this is the first one, and the second one is the Lucida Console. Okay, I don't think these two might be used more in many of the web page, or we would have used it. But if you see, we all know the different font families or the font collections available, but we don't know of which category it belongs to. So these are the three categories. The one is the serif, then the second one is the sans serifs, and then the third one is Monospace fonts. Okay, inside these are the font families which are available in CSS. Okay, now from these categories and from this font family, we'll make use of one font family from each type and see an example. Okay, so from serifs, let's go for Georgia, and in sans serif, let's go for Vadana, and in Monospace, let's go for Korean New. Okay, so I'll create three different types of three different headings, and for each heading, I'll give an unique font one. Okay, so now let's try that. Okay, so I have a simple structure of HTML. I'm going to have the H1 tag. This is heading 1. Okay, so let's give some style for this. Inside the style tag, also known as the internal style CSS. Okay, so in this I'll write H1. Okay, font family as Georgia. Okay, let's even check the spelling if you are writing it right. Okay, Georgia. Now let's save this and run this. Okay, so this is in the Georgia format. Okay, this is heading 1. So if you would like to cross check it, then just type this Georgia font in the Google and just cross check it. This will be the actual format. Okay, so as it is in heading, it will be in bolded text, but when you normally search, it will be as a normal text, but the T and this the I and all will be in the same format. Okay, so now we have done for Georgia. Okay, now let's go for the sans serif type and we'll do Vardhana. Okay, now let's go for that. Okay, now I'll have another heading H2. This is heading 2. Okay, and I'll give here H2, and in this font family is equals to Vardhana. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, see, the Vardhana is in a really like a block, something like that, right? So I think you can see the change. So when it was of Georgia, see the font, see the T. First of all, see the T itself, and see for Vardhana, it's really very different. Okay. Now the third one which you are going to see is Courier New. So I'll create another heading. Why I'm creating three different headings so that you can even compare the output, and I'm giving three of the H1, H2, H3. If I write all of them in H1, then it will get overlapped, and the one which is in the last will get executed, right? So let's, for just giving you a comparison part. This is heading 3, okay? And in this side, right, H3, font family is Courier New. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, now see the heading. Okay, so if you see this, no, there will be a vast difference in their outlook itself. So see here, let's see. Okay, in this the T itself is different. Now when it comes to here, the T is same, but see the G. It's different from here. And when it's a comparison between the Vardhana and the Courier New, the T itself is different. So something or else is different. So why are we doing this? Why are we making use of the font family over here? Because if you would have seen here, see this is an heading which is giving another look, right? So when it is an this is a heading, this let's take it as an example of Courier New. This mostly if we see, this will be really very good to give the body content. The means giving an heading and giving a title to a content, and then writing a content, okay, in a paragraph manner. Then if you write this in the format of Courier New, it will really look nice. And when it is about the Vardhana, if you can make this for title, giving title to your paragraph or content. And when this is of heading, giving it of the first one, that is Georgia, you can clearly see it's really very apt to give a heading of something or heading of a web page. So right, so to give some of the other font family, we can easily tell that there is something unique. Okay, so by just giving same font family to the old content, will the user be able to see which is the heading, which is the title, which is the subtitle, which is the content? No, it will be like everything is same. So there will be no difference. But when you give some different font families, font size and all, you can see the user will be feeling it very useful or user friendly to find what is the heading, what is the subtitle or title, and what is the actual content, and what are the important points and all. Okay, so this is the main use of making use of the font family. Okay, so let's go for the next one, that is font selection. Okay. As a developer, you should not only know what is the different font families which are available, but you should also know where to use which font or which font family. Okay, basically if you see people just give any type of font family to any content, because of which the important content becomes unnoticed. Okay, so if you are seeing like this, you are giving a content like today we are having a let's say a discount of 50%, okay, off in each and every transaction. Let's take it like that. So 50% off should be highlighted in some or the other way, right? For giving in different font family, something like that. If you just give in a simple way, then each and everything will be just messed up, or people will not get or notice it, and there's no use of giving such content in that case. And even such thing happens like rest all of the content which is apart from which is important will be given some other different style formats and all, so people usually get attracted to it, but the content which is really very important will be given a normal one. They feel that any of this is unique, right? No, don't do that, because always give a unique font to the important or a unique information or important data. Okay, don't do vice versa. Okay, don't give the normal data in unique or a very different format and give the most important data or normal text. No, people will always like or always get attracted to the font which is always different. Only few of them will always like a simple one, right? So always think and do, and think what type of font should be used where, how it should be used, why it should be used. Always have a picture about your font and a picture about your selection on font family, and then proceed with giving this font style. So for that I will even tell you some points that what are the things which you should always remember for selecting a font. Okay, first the first point is branding. Sorry, it's branding. Okay, so a font you select should embody the character and spirit of your brand. Please try to match the font style to your brand's character. Okay, always try to match your font style to your brand's character. Okay, some kind of aura, then give something very dark. So think on your brand as well as your font. Okay, try to match them. Okay, people, if you see in some of the horror films or horror films posters, the word horror or something which is horror will be always in some unique font in red color, something like that, right? So think, try to give your branding style to the font also, so that it will be really unique, like that some connection is there between these things. Okay, so people should always, all people will always find for a connection in the brand and in your information or in your content. Okay, so first thing, branding is really important. The second one is legibility. Okay, it's evident that it is better for a typefacer to be clear and legible, okay, rather than so unreadable. If people have to spend extra time to understand what you have written, then they will disregard your design. Okay, please keep this in notice. Okay, keep this thing a main point in your mind. Avoid using fancy fonts or uppercase text in larger bodies or of text, as it forces strains on the reader side. It's better to use a decorative typefacer only for titles and headlines. Okay, also it is vital to choose a typeface that works well in multiple sizes and weight to maintain readability in every size. Okay, so why is this legibility? I'll even give you an example in this. If you would have noticed in some of the sites, it is really very difficult to read the content. We feel it very uneasy to read that content, right? So please don't do that. Always be very clear and crisp in your content, so that your content will be really very what to say, it can be really very readable to the user. They should not feel, no, I'm not able to read it, so they will disgrade your design. Please don't do that. Always be very specific in this. Okay, always be specific, that you think as an user before going on. Always think as a user, in a user perspective. Okay, so when you think in a user perspective, you will always understand what's the mistake. Don't just think in a developer view or in a tester view or something like that. Always think in the view of an user also. So when you think of an user view, you will really get very simple and make this font selection very simple. Okay, don't just be in a developer mode. Sometimes you even need to be a user of your own developed design. Okay, so the next one which you are going to see is the main thing, that is serif versus sans. Okay, why is this point? Okay, I told you, please be specific to know what kind of text should be used where, right? So if you see serif, the B, let's take an example of a B. B will be having a tail type of edges. Okay, and when it's about the sans, it will be a normal B. So usually one of the first determination to be made when selecting a typefacer for text is serif or sans, right? So of course we always think. While the decision can be based on several key points, one of the most important point is the length of your copy. Okay, keep this in your mind. The length of the copy which you are going to get should be always mentioned, or should always be notified. Generally, serif typers are easier to read for lengthy copies, okay, than sans. Okay, serif fonts help the travel across a line, especially if lines are long. Okay, but it's also important to consider your target audience. Sans is preferable for young children or anyone just learning to read. Okay, sans is also good for readers with certain visual impediments. Okay, why is this serif versus sans? I'll go first for sans. Okay, when it's about sans, if you would have seen kids rhymes books, or the kids try to learn the language first time, it's always in sans language, because it's really very simple. When we make a kid to write a B, we make the kid to write in a simpler way. We don't tell the kid to write the B in a very dramatic or in a very graphical way, right? So the simplest will be grabbed first for kids. But when it's about the young people, or like young, or more about the young, okay, or really well matured and well, people who are really well experienced and all, they don't consider sans. Okay, they always consider serif, because it is attractive also. And serif is always used for long length copies, because it will grab the attention of the user, and the user will be really be able to travel from line to line. He will not skip any line in between. Okay, so this is the main thing. So I will even say some safe sans types you might start with. Okay. So for sans, I would like to give you an Arial, then even Vardana, then Tahoma. These three are really very simple, good one to start with. Okay. So try these three for sans. And when it's about the serif, go for the Georgia, then Lucida, then Times New Roman. These three really gives a good and neat look for your content. Okay. Yes, this is for the start, and as soon as you get used to it, go on for the rest also. And the fourth one is the font family. Okay, so once fonts are members of super families, they come along with a selection of different styles and weight that give designers more creative freedom. Okay, we can, for in this case, we can make you take an example of the Helvetica. Okay, so Helvetica is a super family. Okay, it includes many sub fonts also. So when choosing a font for your design, you need to know how large a font family needs to be met your project typographic requirements. For many projects, it's enough to have two weights with italic, while other might require additional versions to create good visual hierarchy. Always try to go for two weights only. Okay. And the fifth one is limit the total number of fonts. Okay. Avoid using more than 2 to 3 fonts in your designs. Okay. Each time when you think you need a new font, play with different font sizes for existing fonts. Okay. Why is this said? When you have n number of fonts, it is really very difficult for the user to see, think what to see and why should we see. People always get confused. So only highlight those points which are needed and don't make use of more than 2 to 3. It's a good programming practice of just and graphical you always make use of a 2 to 3 font families only. Adding one subtitle content like that, just 2 to 3, it's enough, really enough for the web page. Okay, and the sixth one is avoid using two similar fonts. Okay, the whole idea of using multiple fonts in design is creating a visual diversity, right? That's why there is no point choosing two fonts that look identical. In fact, the more similar fonts are, the most likely they will clash. Okay, so please remember this point. The fonts which are of similar type, there's no need of using it. Then you can only use any one. So if it's of similar, the output is of really very similar, then don't make use of both the similar in the same web page or at the same time. Okay, please try to make use of another font which is really very different or unique. Okay, and then last one is when selecting two fonts, use decisive contrast. Okay, when you're using trying to select two fonts, use decisive contrast. When you choose to use multiple typefaces, make sure that the typefaces you're using have substantial contrasting difference. Okay, but remember that the contrast is not the same as conflict. Okay, the ideal combination of contrast should create harmony. Okay, follow a simple rule of thumb. Find the two typefaces that are one thing is common, but the otherwise vastly different. Okay, combining serif with sans serif is a classic move. Okay, the key thing when combining two very different fonts is establishing a clear hierarchy between the two. One font should be more prominent than the other, and this can be achieved by varying the size and weight of each typefacer. Okay, always keep this in the mind when selecting two fonts. Use decisive contrast. Okay, so these are some of the key points which you should always remember for selecting or font selection. Okay, so this will even help you to give a neat look in your web page. Okay, please keep this thing in mind and always select the font family for your web page or website. Okay, now we saw what is font collection, then where should we use, how to use and all, right? Now we'll see some font styling also. Okay. Now what is this font styling? Basically giving a style to the font. Okay, so we made use of the font family. Right now we will even make use of some other CSS properties and will make the font more and more attractive. So for that, the first property which we are going to make use of is font style. Okay, so the font style property is most widely used to specify the italic text. Okay, text. This property has three values. Okay, the first one is the normal, and the second one is the italic, and the third one is oblique. Okay, now the normal, the text is shown normally, right? When it comes to italic, the text is shown in a italic form, that's the slanting, something like that. And when it's about the oblique, the text is leaning. Oblique is very similar to italic but less supported. Okay, so these are the three types which is under the font style property. Okay, so with the help of these three, we'll even see some examples. So this is the font style is the property, and these three are the values for that property. Okay, now let's see an example for this. Okay, now we don't need these things, right? Okay, now we'll have a p tag over here. Okay, inside this I'm writing this is a paragraph tag for font styling. This is the content inside this. Now with the help of those three values, we'll give some for styles for this and see how it looks. Okay, so I'll have the style tag. Okay, okay, so for this first, C for P. In this I'll write font style. Okay, font style is equals to normal. Okay, now let's run this. See, this is really a normal one, the default one, which is by default given in the browser. Okay, so the normal styling is given. Okay, now we'll give some ID for this. Okay, so or give some class name. Class is equals to normal. So P, then a space dot normal. So this style is for the p tag which has the class name as normal. Okay, now let's have another p tag. Okay, this is a, I'll just copy paste this. Okay, this is a paragraph tag for font styling. So in this I'll give another class name. Class is equals to, let's write it as italic. Okay, and in this p dot italic, p and then a space. Okay, and in this I'll write font style as italic. Okay, now let's see the output for this. I think I did some mistake. Because it's not an italic form. So is this both same? Yes, all the three are same. So what's the mistake over here? Okay, so I found the mistake. Okay, so there's no space between the tag or the element and the class name. Okay, so it's p dot normal. Why it didn't show any error over here? Because even if we have an error or any coding mistake is there, it will always show the by default format, right? So that's the reason in the first p tag it just showed the by default normal one, and in our case the font style was also normal, so we didn't found the error. But when it was about the italic, see, I got to know the error, right? So see now the output. So the paragraph for the style is in italic form. Okay, now let's see the third one, that is the oblique. Okay, this is mostly not supported in everything. Let's try Okay, and inside this I'll copy paste this content. Okay, and inside style we'll write p dot oblique. Okay, so please remember there's no space after the p. Okay, and this I'll write font style oblique. Okay, now let's even run this. See, as I have already told you, the oblique and italic are mostly same, but the main thing, the main difference is that oblique is not supported everywhere. So that's the difference, but the output for the oblique and the italic is same. So this is the first type, that is the font style. Now let's go to the second one, that is font size. Okay, so the font size property sets the size of the text or size of the font, right? Being able to manage the text size is important in web design. However, you should not use font size adjustments to make a paragraph look like headlines or headings like or look like a paragraph. Always use the proper HTML tags like H1 to H6 for headings and P for paragraphs. The font size values can be absolute or relative size. When it's about absolute, okay, sets the text to a specified size, okay, and it does not allow a user to change the text size in all browsers, okay. So this is bad for accessibility reasons, okay. And absolute size is useful when the physical size of the output is known, okay. And so just remember, absolute means a constant one, okay. You can't change it or do anything in this, so the output which we'll get will be constant itself, okay. And the second one is the relative. Okay, so this relative size sets the size relative to surrounding environments, allows the user to change the text size in browser, okay. So when it was about absolute, you can change it, it was always the constant, but when it comes about the relative, you can change it, okay. So now we'll even see some example for this, and before going for this, we can make use or give font size in two ways, that is, one is the pixel and the second one is EM. So what is this? I will even tell you that. Okay. So when set font size with pixels, setting the size of the text with pixels gives you full control over the text size. Okay. So this is the first point about the pixels. So let's see about the pixels and then about the EM. So now we'll see an example of pixels. Okay. So there's no example for such like absolute and relative. You just need to keep keep in your mind what is absolute and what is relative. Okay, absolute means a constant output, and when it's about the relative, you can change the output as needed by the user. Okay, now let's see the output for this. So now I will have an H1 tag, that is the heading tag. Okay, inside this I write this is a heading tag. Okay, now I'm going to give a font size to this H1. Okay, so H1 and then curly braces, font size, let's give it as 40 pixel. Okay, see here. So for setting font size with pixels, pixel means px. Okay, px denotes pixels. Now let's run this. See, it's of 40 pixel. So you to make you understand the changes, we'll even have another tag. Okay, let's have another tag as H2. Okay, this is a heading tag. Okay, for this I'll give some other font size. Okay, H2 font size, let us give it as 20 pixel. Okay, so we got it. Please do remember, always make use of this font size where it is needed. Okay, don't make use of it where you really don't need it. Okay, so this was about the first one, that is the pixel. Now let's even see what is EM. So to allow users to resize the text in the browser menu, many developers use this EM instead of pixels. Okay, the EM size unit is actually recommended by the W3C. Okay, 1 EM is equal to the current font size. 1 EM is equals to the current font size. Okay, the default text size in browser is 16 pixel. So the default size of 1 em is 16 pixel. Okay, so what we told, 1 em is equals to current font size, and the default font size is 16. So absolutely 1 em is 16 pixel. Okay, the size can be calculated from pixels to em using the formula pixels upon 16 is equals to em. So with the help of this formula, you can find the em. Okay, so even I will see some example for this also. Okay, okay, for this first I will create an let's take another ed tag itself, h3. Okay, this is a heading tag. Okay, and then inside this h3 I'll write font size, and in this I will give the, instead of pixel or px I'll give em. So let's give it a 2.5 en. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, see em. Okay, so now how it is calculated, 2.5, so it's 40 pixel upon 16, which is equals to 2.5. So we got this 2.5, right? So this is how it is calculated with the help of that formula. So we can make use of that pixel as well as the em. So this is basically for making changes of the size by for the user. So em is basically used for that only. So there's no big change in this. Okay. So use of the combination percentage and em. Okay, you can even make use of that, giving a percentage as well as an em is also possible, a combination one. Now let's go to the next one, that is the font weight. Okay, the font weight property specifies the weight of the font. Okay, so now what is weight of the font? Weight, the basic meaning is bold, whether the font should be really very bold or lighter or normal, or the weight can be even specified with numbers like 900, 800, 700. Okay, so giving a weightage to the text or the font by not just specifying bold lighter. We always say, right, if you have seen in some of the websites or web page, the content would be repeated for just for the attractive. So it will be some light to lighter, then light, then a bit normal, then a bold one, then very bold, like that something it will be, right? So in such places this font weight can be used. So we'll even see some for the example for this. So for this, keep four things in the mind, the values. First one is the normal, the second one is the lighter, the third one is the bold, and the fourth one is giving a number. Let's take it as 900. So with these four values and with this one property, we'll make use, or we'll even see an example. Okay. Okay, so now let's have some other p tags so that it will be really very easy to understand. Okay, p. Okay, and I'll give a class name. Let's give this as normal. Oh no, class is already there, right? Okay, normal w or weight. So okay, so now I'll again copy the same content. Font styling, and in this just give some other weight. Okay, so this is a basic difference in the color. Okay, so now I'm going to give some property over here. So what I'm going to write, p dot normal weight. Please do take care of the spellings. Okay, and inside this curly braces font weight, and in this I will write normal. So output will be as if normal text gets displayed by default. Okay, see, you got it in a normal way. So there's no any stylings given, any attractive thing, nothing is given by default. What the browser accepts, it's given by that itself. Okay, so now let's try something else. Let's go for, in the same thing we'll give something else. So we'll not do again and again. So lighter. Okay, so now let's run this. So I think we are not able to see it. It's really not at all visible. Maybe it's not supported over here because the syntax is really perfect. So normal weight and the font weight and the lighter. So please remember everything is not supported everywhere. Okay. So so that's all. Okay. So now let's go for the next one, that is the bold. Okay. So the content is in bold. Okay. So this was third one, and the fourth was giving a number, right? So let's give it as a 900. So let's see any differences there. Okay, so it may be a really small change. Okay, so these are the four ways to give a weight: the normal, then the lighter, the bold, and the 900, or giving some value as in a number numeric form. So with the help of this, we'll give some weightage to the font, that how it should be displayed in a really a very light format, or it should be really very dark, very bold, or bolder, something like that. So with the help of this, we font weight, we can even make it a thick. This is really for making the content more thick. The thickness of the content, or the thickness of the font, is the basic concept over here. So the next thing over here is font variant. Okay, so the font variant property specifies whether or not a text should be displayed in a small caps font. Okay, in a small caps font, all lowercase letters are converted to uppercase. However, the converted uppercase letter appears in a smaller font size than the original uppercase letters in the text. Okay, so there's no big difference here. The basic concept is uppercase and lowercase. But what's happening here? Smaller uppercase, in the sense, if my name is Sirija, something like this is there, or my name is so and so is there. Okay, so yeah, the M will be in a uppercase letter, and it will be really a big one, right? And rest of the parts of the content will be in a smaller one. So in place where you have used normally use an uppercase letter, it will be in big, and where you have used lower case letters, it will be converted to uppercase, but the size will be smaller. So you'll even see an example for that. Okay. Okay. Let's have a p tag and write a class is equals to small. This is a paragraph for, let's write as smaller case. Okay. So now in this, I'm going to have an style small. Inside this curly braces, I will write font variant. Okay, in this I will write normal, or some small cap, something like that. So now let's go for normal first. So it will be a normal output. Okay, it's really normal. Now I'll give small case or small caps. Okay, let's even see that. Small caps. Okay, now the content which is here, let's see that also first. So the T will be in uppercase as it is. Rest of these, even from the H to the E, all will turn to uppercase, but the size will be smaller. Okay, so now let's run this. See, all have been turned to uppercase, but the size is small. So now you can even get some of the letters in middle also in uppercase. Let's try that also. So if in case I'm writing this small S uppercase, and even this case will be in uppercase. So now let's see the output. See, the small and S and C is in in a normal or in some bigger font, right? Why? Because this T, this S, and this C in the normal way, in the normal content which we have given in the code, the only these three letters are in uppercase, and rest all are in smaller. So we are converting the smaller to upper, right? So the uppercase which is already there will be in the same font size itself. Now we are converting the small lowercase to uppercase. The size will not change, only it will be changing from property from lower to upper. Okay, so this is the basic font styling. So for giving styles to the font, we should always know the font variant, then the font weight, then the font size, and then the font style. Okay, by keeping these things on mind, we can give styling for the font also. Okay, the last and the final topic under the styling font with CSS is text properties. Okay. Okay, so what is this? Basically giving some additional properties to the text present in your web page or website. So if you have noticed, text is in the web pages, some of the texts are always given some unique colors, size, font, each and everything is something different. So how is it done? So with this text properties. So even we will see some of the text properties and some of their examples and understand this. So the first text property is color. Okay, the color property is used to set the color of the text. With CSS, a color is most often specified by the color name. Like, okay, I'll even write in full. Okay, color name like this, red. Okay, the second is the X value, which is like this. We'll start with a hash F 0000. So this X values are freely available in the online, so you can search it for any of the color which you want. And the third one is the RGB value. Okay, so it will be like this, RGB, and the brown braces. Let's take it like red, right? 255, 0, 0. Okay, so we can give color properties in these three ways. One is by giving directly the name, the next one is by giving an X value, and the third one is by giving the RGB. Okay, now let's see some example for this and understand this also. Okay, for color, okay, we already have, right? So we'll make use of this itself. Okay, so for the first heading, for heading 1, I would like to give some color as red. Okay, so we'll make use of all the three ways which we have. Okay, so the next one is color as red. Okay, now let's see the output. So this is being turned to color. So we'll even give the same color but in the other ways. That is, first we gave the first way, that is by giving the name, color name. Now let's make use of the X value. Okay, so for the H2, I'm going to give the X value. So color, and in this I will write hash FF 0000, 4 times 0. Okay, now let's even done this. See, even the heading 2 is turned to red. And the third way of using this is RGB. So if you give 255 a year, the first part, then it's like a red color. In the second part, if you give, then it's green color. In the third part, then it is blue color. If you give some combinations, then some other color will be coming out, right? So that's a basic thing over here. So the third one, color, and I'll write RGB. Inside that 255, 0, 0. Okay, now let's even run this. See, even the third heading is being changed to red. So this is the basic thing of color. The second thing is the text alignment. Okay, so when it comes about the text alignment, see, okay, the text align property, when you make use of the property, it will be like this, not text alignment, it will be text align. Okay, so the text align property is used to set the horizontal alignment of a text. Okay, a text can be in a left or right aligned or center or justified. Okay, so we'll see an example in which we'll give some alignments to this, that is the left, right, and center. So I'm again going to make use of those three tags only. So for the first one, I'm going writing as text align center. Okay, so let's see the output. See, the first one is in the center. So let's give the third one as left. By default, it is left, right? So first we'll move it to the right, and then I'll show you the left also. So the text, this text align right. So if you see, the second heading will be in the right direction. See, it's in the right. and now let's change it to left itself so that you can see the changes. Okay. See. So this is how it is aligned again. So you can align it to the center, right and left. So there are three types of alignment, that is center, then the second one is the right and the third one is the left. So you can align your content as you feel. If it's an heading, then you can give it in the center. If it's a title, then again a center. If it's in a subtitle, then the left or right as you feel. Then the content will always be towards the left, right, or some even feel it to be in center. So as per the content or as per the information which you want to give or the data which you want to give, you can even align them in as per your needs. Okay. So even we can make use of the fourth one, that is justify. Okay, the text align justified value stretches the line so that each line has equal width. So that's a basic thing here. So this will make that each and everything will have an equal width. Okay, so there will be no ups and downs in the width. So that's the thing. So these four are the values of the text align property. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, that is the text decoration. So even in text decoration we have many of them. Okay, let's see. Okay, so when it's about the text decoration, the text decoration properties used to set or remove decorations from the text, right? So here I have told set or remove. Why remove? Because I have already told you in each and every browser there's some or the other default styling properties which is given. So remove those styling properties, we can make use of this remove also. So here we'll not make use of any keywords like remove, but we'll write text decoration as none. Okay. So and the first one, let's write the value. The first one is the none and the second one is overline. Okay, I'll show you with an example. The third one is line through. Okay, and the fourth one is underline. So now let's see an example and understand what is this. Okay, so for the first one, none. So I have already told you, so there's no need for any example or there's no use of showing that example. So none means giving already some decoration will be there and I'm giving something none and the decoration will be gone, right? So now let's give these properties to this p tags. So for which p tag, let's give it for the normal one. Okay, so normal. Okay, inside this I will write text decoration. Okay, and in this I will write overline. Okay, now what is this overline? You will be able to see a line above the paragraph. Okay, or the above the text. See, there's a line above the text. So this is overline. And we always know underline. So it's an opposite of underline. So we'll even see that underline over here. In this I'll write text decoration underline. Okay. So I hope you got the output. See. This is below. So this is above the content or text and this is below the text. You can even give a stroke to the text or like cancellation, something like that. For that you will make use of line through. Okay. Text decoration as line through. So there will be a stroke in that. See, it's like you have cutted that there's no something like that. I've even shown you some example or told you an example. Some old offers or some old rate has been changed and now new thing is there. So it will be always given a stroke, right? In that this kind of thing is used. So here there are four values. The first one was the none. The second one was the overline and the third one was the line through, that is the stroke, and the fourth one was the underline. Now we even have the next one for the text formatting is text transformation. Okay, now the text transformation in the property it's also known as text transform. Okay, the text transform property is used to specify uppercase and lowercase letters in the text. Okay, it can be used to turn everything into uppercase or lowercase letter or capitalize the first letter or each word. So now even let's see an example for that. Okay, so for this we'll have three values. The first one is the uppercase, the second one is the lowercase, and the third one is the capitalize. Okay. So these are the values and this is the property. Now we will make use of this property also. So I'll make use of it over here itself. Okay, so that's not given any kind of paragraphs here. So in this I'll write text transform uppercase. So all the content present in the P tag of normal class will be in uppercase now. So it's in uppercase, right? So now these, so see here, the T is in uppercase, right? So even to change this, we can make use of the value as lowercase. Text transform, here I'll write lowercase. Okay, it will not even leave any one letter. Okay, it will turn each and every letter to lowercase. See, even the T is changed to lowercase, right? So even the third property is capitalize. Now what is a capitalize? So in this, if you see, this is a word, okay, this, and the next word is, and the next word is and the next one is paragraph, then the tag, then for, then font, then styling. What will happen over here is each word will start with a capitalized letter. Okay, so for styling the S will be in a capital, for a font the F will be in capital, the for the S will be in capital. So let's see that. Text transform capitalize. Okay, see, even the got capitalized because even that's the first as well as the last. Yes, we know, but even that's the first letter, right, for that word. So even the has been turned to a capitalized letter. So why we make use of this? For some kind of places like heading or something like that, you feel no, each and every word should be in a capital letter, or something where you feel no, each and everything should be in lowercase. In case if I write it wrong, then two it should be in lowercase only, or then two it should be in uppercase only. In such places we can make use of this. Okay, the next one is the text indentation. Okay, the text indentation, also known as the text indent. Okay, the text indent property is used to specify the indentation of the first line of the text. So where this is used, if you see paragraphs, we are always taught in school, schools, right? You should always leave a 2-finger space, right? So for leaving that 2-finger space in computer, you don't need to even keep on pressing a space bar or the tab. You can even give some indentation over here, like 50 pixel, 60 pixel, a pixel. The first line will be having that indentation, not the all of the line. So for time being, we'll consider some of the paragraph. Let's take this as well. I'll write text indent 50 pixel. Okay, the italic one is being done. See, it's moving for 50 pixel. Even if I have n number of lines or lines of content, only the first line or the first starting of the paragraph will be moved to 50 pixel, not the rest. Okay, so let's even see that. I'll even show you how it works. So it was for italic, right? So I'll give a break over here. Okay, and I'll add the same content. Okay, now let's see the output. See, so this both are under the P tag of italic class, but only the first line is given that 50 pixel. So this is where the indentation plays role. The next one is the letter spacing. Okay, so now what is letter spacing? To give some space between letters. As I told you, we are always taught in the schools that start with a 2-finger space for paragraph. In the same way, we are even taught that in each between each and every word, please give 1-finger space, right? For giving that spacing, this letter spacing will be really useful. So, but the difference over here is that we were taught to give spacing between a word. Now here we are going to give spacing between a letter. Okay, so for this is the word, then the spacing between the T, then the H, then the I, then the S. this letters will be given some spacing. Okay, so now let's see an output for that. So for that I'll make use of this the small class. Okay, in this I'll write letter spacing. Let's give it as 3 pixels. Okay, and now let's run this. See, it's given a 3 pixel between each and every letter. So we can even merge them up, or just we can combine them each and everything. So now I have given +3. If any sign is not denoted, so absolutely plus, right? Now I'll give -3. So now see, all will be joined. See? Yeah, one of what can we say, one above the other, or just one next to the other. Okay, very really very adjusted. So this is giving a spacing between each and every letters present in the content. Okay, so this is where this plays role. This is mainly used for in places where like there are games or some testings like, can you read this letters? So in such a place, this letter spacing of -3 is played. They will just display this kind of content and tell them to read it. That can you read it? And for the ones who are not able to read anything, they will give 3 pixel spacing plus, okay, plus not minus, and then they'll ask, can you read it? So this is plays a big role over there. Okay, the next one is the line height. Okay, so now let's go for the next one, that is the line height. Okay, in line height, what is the main use? It gives the height between the lines. That's all. There's no difference between over here. So see here, if in this, see, the both are really very not very congested, but just below the other. So between this both we can give a space. So let's give that. Okay, so this is in the italic class. Okay, so I'll write over here line height, and I will tell I want 1.8. Okay, so now let's see how much is the line given. See, it's like a new tab or new something has been there, right? So it's giving a space between the line, as we did for giving a space between the letter. Now we are also giving space between the line. Okay, so this will be really very useful to give a neat look for your paragraph where you have a big content, but you have to give it really in a very good what to say, a presentable way. You can make use of this one. And we even have another one, that is word spacing, and this is the last one for now. Okay, word spacing. The word spacing property is used to specify the spaces between the words in a text. I already told you, one finger space between two words, right? So that's the main concept over here. So we'll even give that. Okay, for that we'll make use of, let's take use of this okay, let's make use of this second heading. Okay, so H2. Okay, where's H2? Here. So here I'll write word spacing, and let's give it as 20 pixels. It's really very big. Let's see. See, 20 pixels word spacing. Here it was about the letter spacing, right? So either it is combined or clubbed together, or it's really spread it out. Letters are spread out. Here the letters are together, but the words are spread out. Okay, so this is word spacing. So this is how you can give some different text formatting tools, and make use of these tools and make your text more and more attractive, so that the user's attention can be grabbed easily, and at the same time user is able to read the content very clearly. Okay, so in many fields these types of text properties are used to as per their need. Okay, as I gave you an example for that letter spacing, also for making the user to check again like something whether they can read or whether they can't, like that. So this is made use, this text formattings are made use, and n number of outputs are produced. Okay, so with the help of this you can even make your website more creative, and I have already told you, make the text in such a way that it is really related to your topic or to your web page or website. Okay, so this is the all about the text properties. So see, it's a big one. Okay, so please don't forget the color, then the text alignment, And then came the, one second, text decoration, then the text transformation, then text indentation, then the text indent, then letter spacing, line height, word spacing if I would have missed, then that also. So these all club in together and make a text property. Okay, make use of these all things and build a decorative web page or website as per your desire.